Yes? What is it that you want?
My name is Irek, Khan of the Eastern Khanate. I carry a message from the Khan of Khans, the almighty dragon, the war chief of the East.
I don't need to speak to you.
I did not say that I have come to ask you. What is your position on the civil war?
The Stormcloaks want freedom, but don't understand its price.
The pain and suffering of many open a window of opportunity for few. Join us and get what you have always dreamed of. Deny us, and soon Stormcloaks will be the least of your concerns. Hello people of the earth and welcome to QuickSaveTV. My name is Mike and today I'm going to present to you the Han class. For female it is Hatan, by the way. Let us go ahead and without further ado start with the small role-playing introduction so that you have a general understanding of what's going on. Irek is the descendant of the royal bloodline. He is the son of the current Chinggis Khan of the mighty horde, Kubilai. His father, anticipating his soon demise, sends his last son to Skyrim, away from political turmoil that is about to once again engulf the Khanate. Little to none is known about the great horde to people of Tamriel. Even the mighty Altmerid Dominion cannot penetrate the fog that hides the far east from the rest of Tamriel. All that is known is that they are immensely able fighters and devilishly cunning plotters. Irek is as ambitious as his father. He has no regard for value of human life and no moral preoccupations. He does not feel any regret to his father's soon death, but he also realizes that those dogs that dare to attack his family must be taught a lesson. He is a cunning diplomat and a very skilled warrior. He will need both his talents to overcome the challenges in Skyrim and to build up his fortune and number of loyalists behind him to take back and keep what he deserves. Now without further ado, let's go ahead and move towards the actual tutorial. So basically Han is the heavy armored warrior kind of class which uses one-handed and shield in close quarters combat as well as the bow at ranged combat and against targets that are particularly difficult to reach with one-handed weaponry such as dragons, such as magicians, and etc, at least until you get enough proficiency with the shield. There is no exact preference for the Han in using one-handed weaponry. Generally, Easterners are very good at any kinds of one-handed weaponry, be that axe, be that mace, be that sword, whatever it is that you prefer you can go ahead and use. I do not recommend you invest into specialization perk points because they don't really make that much of a difference. What will be much more important and relevant for you is actually investing in enchanting and smithing. For the purposes of protection, you should go ahead and pick up the heavy armor. That is what the Easterners use, that is what I recommend for this class. Technically, there is not much difference between light and heavy armor except for heavy armor is freaking clunky and light armor is not so much. However, for the better feel of this particular class, I recommend heavy armor. If you're playing on Master, it's going to be slightly more helpful in the beginning of the game, but there are several issues to be overcome as you slowly level up. Heavy armor is slowing you down unlike the light armor, and its perk tree is probably the most confusing perk tree in the entire universe. There has been constant reports about several perks not working, specifically Tower of Strength and Reflect Blows, and I do not understand whether or not to trust them, and there's no very effective way to test it out. Tower of Strength is on the right side of the tree, and it allows you to be staggered less often, and Reflect Blows actually reflects 10% of the damage directed towards your character. I would say Tower of Strength is actually very important. However, as we do not know whether or not it actually works, it will be probably a safer bet for you to go through the left side of the tree, go to Fists of Steel, Cushioned, and Conditioning. Conditioning will allow you to run around in heavy armor as if it was your underwear. Ta-da! From the start of the game and for about level 11ish, try to rack up your hit points to about 200 points mark. After that, slowly try to catch it up with stamina and only focus on magicka when you feel like you're severely lacking behind. Your priorities are as follows: health, stamina, magicka. I generally do not give recommendations for a race. I think race you should select yourself, whichever you prefer, but if you are a mid-maxer and you want the most effective race, I would suggest you going with Breton, Dunmer, or a Nord. The most role-playing friendly for this particular class is a Bosmer. Bosmers have this feel of kinship and they do look like what I expect a Han to look. So if you're interested in playing the class the way I designed it, you might want to go ahead and pick up Bosmer. The same thing goes for a Guardian Stone. I generally do not like to give recommendations for that, I think it's up to the player. However, I do think it would not be bad if you select something like a Lord Stone for a mid-game, so that you have this additional boost of magical protection. Of course, it all boils down to your preference. Depending on what you focus on in your build, different stones will be effective for you. The same goes for shouts. There's really no one specific way in which you should play. It's all about improvisation. In smithing, you generally want to get as high as the dragon smithing. You want to have the best possible weaponry in the game. The general weapon preferences for the Han or Hatan, if it's a female, will be to have the best possible, the most damaging weaponry possible. However, if you do not want to use a crossbow with your Han class, you might want to go ahead through the left side of the smithing. This way you will save up 1 perk point and you will get to dragon smithing slightly quicker. If you do want to use crossbow and you want to join Dawnguard, you might want to go through the right side. Dwarven smithing will allow you to improve your crossbow from the Dawnguard faction with less hustle and less exploits. For the purposes of role-playing only, I recommend you taking the speech and try to invest into learning to speak properly. Whenever the opportunity arises, try to persuade or intimidate enemies. That will allow you to feel your class better and show that he actually is an able politician. Not just a half-wit which just swings with a sword and fires a bow. Pickpocket would also be a worthy choice, but only as far as to get the side pockets. Additional 100 capacity of weight will be very helpful at any stage in the game, and generally being able to pickpocket things will open you additional opportunities in Skyrim, as well as joining to the Thieves Guild, which is perfectly aligned with the character of Han, and generally to get to places in which you're not particularly wanted. Having a reasonable amount of sneak is also very important, and you will be able to level it up by opening up in every combat situation with a sneak attack with a bow. Needless to say, enchanting is particularly important for any class in Skyrim. However, with Han, it comes to an even more important extent, because you will be in close combat constantly and you want to have this additional protection against magic, against frost, against fire and against shock. It is extremely important, thus I urge you to slowly accumulate your points in enchanting and advance toward the double enchanting in order to enchant your armor with these additional bonuses and benefits. As an additional boost for Han, what will be extremely helpful is restoration. Restoration as such will allow you to restore both your stamina and your health at a very cheap cost, and with minimal investments of perks you will get very strong additions to your class. The way I planned out the leveling, I have only 51 perk points spent, which means you will have additional 29 to spend however you like. I will demonstrate it to you right about now. As a recap, do not take perks that are unnecessary, try to save up some points, but always be free to improvise, that is more important. This is only a base. At the late game you will have much more freedom, and thus you will be able to customize the class to any way you like or prefer. As a small exception, you can go ahead and pick up light armor if you want. It really makes no difference, either heavy armor, either light armor, because for this particular class neither of them actually provides you with decent skills or perks, unlike it was in Oblivion, and I wish it was like this again, but it isn't, so it doesn't freaking matter. However, for the general feel of the class, I do recommend heavy armor. And that sounds like about it for this class. I thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and my commentary. Please do not forget to put a like on this video if you enjoyed it. It helps me immensely, and if you would like to further help me, do not forget to favorite this video. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel as well if you would like to see more of such content and to support my work furthermore. I thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Have a greatest day and see you soon.